few things or more. One of these is you'll understand the concept of mental health and well-being. You also explore what mental health and related services can do to promote people's health and well-being. Another objective will be to understand of and barriers to recovery. You should know what are the components of recovery, then what are the barriers that limit recovery from mental health disorders. We should also be able to develop an understanding of the role of the mental health and related services in promoting and supporting health and recovery. Then we shall explore how individual services can respect, protect, and fulfill people's rights to health recovery. Another area that we shall also see will be how fact-checkers or journalists protect themselves from mental health or from mental deterioration. So before we continue, we have some terminologies that are used specifically in this training for the purpose of this training, although they can be they are used outside there different with a different meaning, but specifically with this we shall have this for this definition. Okay, languages and terminologies usually are used differently by different people in different contexts. So the first word is psychosocial disability. This includes people who have received a mental health related diagnosis or who self-identify with this term. Another word is cognitive disability and intellectual disability. Refer to people who have received a diagnosis related to their cognitive or intellectual function, including dementia and autism. The term disability highlights the barrier to the full participation in society of people with actual or impairments, with the fact that they are protected under the Convention on the Rights of People with a Disability. So here we are, when you're referring to Convention on the Rights of People with a Disability, this was the definition that the members who sat down and decided to give it particularly people who have disability. However, it's out here, it can be used in a general definition that we can give from the perception of mental health. The use of disability in this context does not imply that people have an impairment or a disorder. The term mental health social services refers to a wide range of services provided by countries within the public, private, and non-governmental sectors. The terminologies have been chosen for inclusiveness. It is a personal choice, self-identify with certain expressions or concepts, but human rights apply or it is mentally or socially not fine, but then have to segregate. It applies to each and everyone, depending on how you define yourself or how other people define you. Diagnosis or a disability should never define, yes, a person. So if you see a doctor and then the doctor says you have some mental problems, that's just a situation, but it shouldn't be you, or you shouldn't be defined by that because you have or a doctor has said you have that. So we go to what is mental health. They're having a general definition by the American Sociological Association. According to them, they say mental health is a state of mind characterized by emotional well-being, good behavior adjustment, relative freedom from anxiety and disabling systems, and the capacity to establish constructive relationships and cope with ordinary demands, stress, life. So this is one definition which was given by American Psychosocial Association. However, in real life, mental health can have a lot of different definitions. For example, like this one's behind. Mental health is fundamentally personal and subjective, in a sense that a sense of internal well-being. Someone may have internal well-being and feels he's okay or his state of mind are stable. And then another one will feeling in line with one's own beliefs and values. So yeah, we may have, well, currently we have a lot of religions, others even go traditional. So a Muslim will feel very comfortable because of his religion, and then someone will say, "You are not serious. Yeah, how can you believe in such and such religion which has this and this and this?" And then another one will go traditional and say, "I'm okay with my gods, the gods of my land." And then, so when you feel you're comfortable with your own beliefs and values, that one may give you a state of stable mental health. Another one may be feeling at peace with oneself. Like personally, if you feel you have nothing that's demanding you or that's disturbing you, that's you'll have state of mind. So finally, feeling positive and optimistic about life. Yeah, we understand we may have a lot of challenges in our lives, but however, if you decide and say, whatever I'm going through, I will face it and I'm comfortable with this. That one defines your state of mental health. Yeah, other important areas or facts to talk in this, we have stress and trauma. So we'll begin by defining stress. Stress can be defined as a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. Stress is a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our lives. So there are a lot of factors that can cause stress, and then one of these can be lack of resources or lack of unemployment. We all know what happens, especially when you've just come from school, you feel you should get work, you move all around you, but in other parts of the country looking for what to do, and you don't get. You'll be worried, and at the end of the day, your mental state will go down. Or if
Okay, some people were saying that he was pretty low. Can you hear me clearly? Like, am I loud enough? You just put a thumbs up or you can write yes in the chat box. Okay, great. So, okay, you come and use this computer. So we will be just changing something a bit here. Okay, great. Proceed. Please proceed.
Okay, sorry for that. I was saying life challenges, for example, lack of job or uh, differences in family issues can bring stress or can bring a state of worry, and it can break down your mental status. So we have a few signs of stress. Uh, one is difficulty in breathing, like you feel your breath is attacked or it breaks down. You don't know why, but then this could be as a result of stress. Another one is panic attacks. You feel from nowhere you start to panic, even when nobody has attacked you or there's no physical attack, but mentally you're attacked or you have issues that come and breaks you down. Sometimes it affects your eyesight, also eyes. Your eyes become red or are very painful. Yeah, it goes to an extent of sometimes sleep problems. You spend the whole night awake when you have nothing you're doing. You want to sleep, but sleep is not coming. This is also a sign of mental health or mental breakdown or stress. Then there's fatigue. Sometimes you feel your body is weak. Even if there's no work you're doing, you wake up, you're at home, or you do little work, but your body gets tired beyond how it should. Then you also have muscle aches and headaches. You have undefined headaches. You can take medicine, you don't get cure. You go to the hospital, they tell you you don't have malaria, you don't have anything. But the feeling your body is, your body muscles are paining and you have headache. Then chest pains and high blood pressure. Then finally we have indigestion and heartburn. This this could be some of the signs that come around. You may go to the hospital, the doctors will tell you you have malaria, you have typhoid, you have ulcers. Then you keep taking this medicine, and you don't get cured. So, however, it's just because they're treating the wrong signs or they're treating signs of a different thing. So we look at trauma. Trauma is an emotional response to a terrible event like an accident, rape, or a natural disaster. So we have three types of trauma. We have acute trauma. This one results from a single incident, like for example, an accident or a rape or a natural disaster that happened once, like in your lifetime. So it may be so terrible that every time you think about it, it affects you or it brings fear in you. Then, secondly, is chronic trauma. Chronic trauma is repeated and prolonged, such as domestic violence or abuse. So, here, this is mainly the same thing or similar things that keep happening to you one again and again and again. For example, if you're in an abusive marriage, that every time people are fighting, like physically or even using words. So these words keep haunting you every other time. Every small differences, you go into it seriously. So this keeps haunting you throughout for a long time. And then we have complex trauma. Complex trauma is exposure to varied and multiple traumatic events, often as an invasive or interpersonal nature. So here it may involve the above ones or or the above ones, like the acute ones or the chronic ones, but over a long time. For example, you may have seen an accident or when you come from an area, a war zone area, and then you keep seeing victims of war, people who have been shot at for a long time. So these things keep coming back again and again. Yeah, so mental health is a situation that affects us, but it's a medical situation. So if it happens, you should not undermine it. We should get health help. So we have medical terms that defines or that are mainly used in mental health. One of these is mental health diagnosis or psychiatric diagnosis or diagnosis of a mental health disorder. These are used to describe patterns of experiences and behaviors that may cause distress or being seen as difficult to understand. They imply that what people experience are symptoms of a medical conditions. Some people may find it useful to be diagnosed because it provides an explanation to their problems. Others find diagnosis stigmatizing because they imply that there is something wrong with them. Diagnoses are based on a judgment about what is normal behavior, some accepted in their society or culture. So generally, this slide is telling us any mental health situation has a medical solution. However, it depends on the individual or even the communities where we come from, because much as people look at themselves like people who have mental health issues look at themselves as being if they go to get the medical health, they feel stigmatized. But even the society, like they have what's like you need psychiatric, like you need psychiatric doctor, or you need to see a psychiatric even when you're normal. So the society has stigmatized these words, and it makes mental health patients feel like seeking for help is something that nobody should do. However, if you feel you have some of the signs that you think you cannot help yourself, it's always good and wise to go and to look for this help as early as possible to make sure the situation is arrested. Some people may also find that the diagnosis they are given has a more negative impact on their life and well-being than their distress or experiences do. Yeah, some people will think that the medication or this all that you go through the diagnosis and the treatment process may cause more harm than when you are not in the hospital. Like you better go through your condition alone or without going to the hospital than going there. However, still on the expert point of view, it's better to see a medical doctor other than going through yourself. People choose alternative ways of thinking about their experiences. For many people, what they experience may be the result of one or more traumatic events that have occurred in their lives. People may also explain their distress as coming from or being caused by a difficult context or overwhelming events. Others find spiritual, cultural, or other meanings for their experiences. So here it's saying people try to justify or try to find causes of whatever they're suffering from or whatever is causing the pain or the mental breakdown in their lives. Others find spiritual, cultural, or other meanings for their experiences. So these alternative ways of thinking may be useful to people, helping them to overcome difficult situations or experiences. So here we say if you know the cause or if you know the reason of your mental breakdown, if you can identify it, it means you can get a solution or you can overcome whatever you're going through. So despite this, people's refusal to accept a diagnosis related to their mental health is attributed to a lack of insight by many mental health and other professionals. So people have the right to define their difficulties, distress, or experiences in ways that makes sense to them. They should also be able to access the support they want to reach the state of mental health and well-being to which they aspire. So here, much as you are the one who is suffering from this situation, sometimes you have the right to define the situation you're going through. However, it could be very useful for you if you accept to get support or to get help that is external, or if you allow people to help you or to take you to the mental health expert when it is still early enough. So another thing we're going to look at is post-traumatic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. This is a mental health condition that's triggered by a terrifying event, either experiencing it or witnessing it. Now, this one is when the thing has happened, it has now become a medical condition, like in our lives or in someone's life. So this one has symptoms, and symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety, as well as uncontrollable thoughts about the event. For example, the first time I entered the mortuary, it took me almost 2 weeks when I could not sleep at night. Every time I put off the light, I remember whatever was in the mortuary. So if you cannot manage to overcome such moments in your life, it becomes a disorder. Most people who go through traumatic events may have temporary difficulty adjusting and coping, but with the time and good self-care, they usually get better. If the symptoms get worse or last for months or even years and interfere with your day-to-day functioning, you may have a post-traumatic stress disorder. So this one means this signs may even take years when they don't want to go. Something that happened when you're 5 years may come to haunt you when you're 20 years or above. So if it comes and you're not getting peace, stress disorder. So it has signs and symptoms. Post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms may start within 1 month of a traumatic event, but sometimes symptoms may not appear until years after the event. Yeah, the signs may appear immediately, or they may take their own time and come back to haunt you at a later date or later years. These symptoms cause significant problems in social or work situations and in relationships. They can also interfere with your ability to go about your normal daily tasks. So post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms are generally grouped into 4 types, of which we have intrusive memories, we have avoidance, negative changes in thinking and mood, and then finally is changes in physical and emotional reactions. So symptoms can vary over time or from one person to another. You may have been exposed to the same scenario, or for example, if it's an accident, it may have happened at this when you are 2 or 3, but then you get different signs or you are affected differently. One may even be affected and the other one may not be affected. So intrusive memories. Signs and symptoms of intrusive memories may include recurrent or unwanted distressing memories of the traumatic event. Like, feel like the memories come alone. You try as much as possible to avoid them, but they keep coming back. Reliving the traumatic event as if it were happening again. You get flashbacks every now
and then maybe in the middle of doing something, then you find a picture of whatever happened coming back, and you feel you get disorganized, you even leave whatever you've been doing or you're doing. Then upsetting dreams or nightmares about the event. I think this one is common, at least most of us have ever experienced this at a certain point in life. Then we have severe emotional distress or physical reaction to something that reminds you of the traumatic event. Yeah, when you see something similar to that, you feel like the whole picture comes back. Yeah. So another one is avoidance. The second sign is avoidance. Under this, we have symptoms of trying to avoid thinking or talking about the traumatic event. Then avoiding places or activities or people that remind you of traumatic events. Yeah, this is also common. Here someone say, I don't want to meet someone, so wherever I see him, I remember this and this. Or I don't want to use this road. I have bad experiences on those roads. So this keeps haunting us even when it has happened several years or several months far apart. So another one is changes in physical and emotional reactions. So under this, we have signs like being easily startled or frightened. Like anything can make you get, you feel fear. And always being on guard for danger. Even if you're in a safe place, you'll feel you are not secure. It's because you think your life is threatened, or whatever happened will still happen again or will find you where you are. So you're always on guard. And then this one disrupts you from doing whatever you're supposed to be doing, since your mind will be concentrating on defending yourself other than working or concentrating on what you're supposed to be concentrating on. Then self-destructive behavior, such as drinking too much or driving too fast. Some people go to drink alcohol or other drugs just to distract their minds from whatever they happen. They feel like they have no use, no reason to continue living, so they better destroy their lives. We have another one, trouble sleeping, then trouble concentrating, irritability, angry outbursts, or aggressive behavior. Then finally, overwhelming guilt or shame. So irritating or angry outbursts, someone who you have not harmed or you've never had any differences will from nowhere. You may have a very good conversation and someone turns out to be angry or rude. So you keep asking yourself what happened, but then someone is suffering from something that happened to him or her some years back. And finally, on the symptoms, we have negative changes in thinking and moods. Now, negative thoughts about yourself or other people or the world at large. So this is one of the signs. You don't find any reason, any positive thing about yourself or other people or the world. You think the world is not a good place to be, or you think you yourself even you have no worth. You are not. You don't have any importance at all, or you don't see any importance in any other human being. So when yourself you start seeing these signs, or you see these signs in some other people, these people you may need to dig deep and find out what exactly is happening to them, because it's not coming out from nowhere. Similar to that, we have hopelessness about the future. You think even if you stay, there's nothing you will get tomorrow. You don't want to try hard to get anything, because you don't find any reason for living. And most times this one leads to things like suicide, or because you find you have nothing to live for. But aspects of the traumatic events, yeah, someone will lose memory, and if you ask, but please can you narrate to us what happened exactly, someone will struggle to find whatever that happened, and yet this thing happened to him or to her, or it happened at his or her presence, but find it very hard to explain to someone who was not there. And then difficulty maintaining close relationships. Most times people want distance. You don't want to come around other people because there's loss of trust. Then feeling detached from family and friends. So most times you find you will want to live alone, or you want to be on your own. So you might think it's a kind of lifestyle, however, you have things deep that are disturbing you. So this one also needs help. Then lack of interest in activities you once enjoyed. Yeah, at a certain point, you may be a fan of, say, football, where you cannot miss any match, but from nowhere, you feel like you no longer need football. Your friends will be asking you, what happened? You used to like this and that, and you have no reason to give them. However, this could be some of this. Then difficulty experiencing positive emotions and feeling emotionally numb. You feel you don't get anything positive. You don't, even your friends don't enjoy your company. So what are some of the causes of traumatic stress disorder in individuals? I think this one is now very easy to tell after going through what you have gone through so far. So you can develop a traumatic stress disorder when you go through, see or learn about an event involving actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violation. Doctors are not sure why some people get post-traumatic stress disorder. As with the most mental health problems, post-traumatic disorder is probably caused by a complex mix of one is stressful experiences, including the amount and severity of trauma you've gone through in life. So if you have a lot of stressful experiences one after another, you're trying to heal from this one, another one comes in. So at the end of the day, your body gives in, it fails to manage it now. So you go into a state of disorder now. Then they also say the inherited mental health risks, such as a family history of anxiety and depression. So if there's a background of such at your lineage, there are chances that at a certain point you may inherit it or you may break down as a reason. Then inherited features of your personality, often called your temperament. So these are like your characteristics, some of your characteristics, how you handle situations. So they may develop to become to cause post-traumatic stress disorder. Then the way your brain regulates the chemicals and hormones your body releases in response to stress, because you all know there's a way our bodies respond to different situations that we go through, fright or anything. So there's the body regulates it. Whatever it releases, it regulates it. So if the hormones does not match what the body releases, then it may cause a disorder in the long run. So we also have risk factors. Here I said you may experience the same event or incident, but then one person will have traumatic disorder, then the other one doesn't have. So what are some of the risk factors that can make you easily into PTSD? So experiencing intense or long-lasting trauma, like as I was one of the causes, being exposed to long-term trauma. Yeah, I've said long-lasting, like it has been there for so long and your body finally gives in. Then having experienced other trauma earlier in life, such as childhood abuse. Like, for example, if you grew up in a abusive family, you are exposed to fighting at childhood. When you grow up, you are old now. When these memories come back, you feel you'll break down. So it becomes a disorder. Then having a job that increases your risk of being exposed to traumatic events, such as military personnel and first responders. Yeah, for military personnel, all the times you are in the front line, you're seeing people dying, or first responders like first aiders, or being in the hospital, always attending to victims of accidents or wounded soldiers. So you're exposed to that. If your brain cannot handle it or it cannot take it, in the long run, you may get breakdown. So having other mental health problems such as anxiety or depression. So when you have this anxiety and depression, it's easy to have post-traumatic stress disorder. Having problems with substance misuse, such as excessive drinking or drug abuse. This example is very common and everywhere. People start taking drugs, some at early age, others even at late age, but when they mentally breaks down, cannot handle it any longer. So lacking a good support system of family and friends. This one, when your friends do not support you, like when you have issues, you seek for guidance, nobody is there to give you. So in the long run, you break down. So having blood relatives with mental health problems, including anxiety and depression. Yeah, so if in the family or at home you have people who are going through this or have mental problems, you find yourself also trying to think too much, and the exposure at the end of the day will break you down, and you also become one of the victims. So what helps you feel emotionally and mentally well? Also have a comment from the American Psychiatric Association saying mental health is a medical condition, just like heart disease or diabetes. And mental health conditions are treatable. We are continually expanding our understanding of how the human brain works, and treatments are available to help people successfully manage mental health conditions. This is like a reminder that if you see you have mental health issues, you don't have to sit on it. You need to get medical treatment or advice as soon as possible. If you have disturbing thoughts and feelings about a traumatic event for more than a month, if they are severe, or if you feel you are having trouble getting your life back under control, talk to your doctor or a mental health professional. Getting treatment as soon as possible can help prevent post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms from getting worse. Because here, the earlier, the better. Because if you leave it and let it break you down, it will be too late for you to regain yourself. So the earlier, the better. So we're going to look at protecting and promoting mental health and well-being. What can negatively affect mental health and well-being? So generally, you don't get breakdown from nowhere, as we had earlier on said. So mental health and well-being are influenced by many factors, both within our control and beyond our control. Social factors are crucial to mental health and being. So one of the factors is poverty. Yeah, we all know in Africa, most of us, we are not doing well, or we are not coming from a well-to-do families. So poverty is a serious factor. So if if we have conditions that we really need to solve and yet we cannot solve them because of our conditions, financially, you find at the end of the day, you break down. Then another factor is inequality. In society, we have a lot of differences or segregations. So if you find yourself being segregated depending on either gender or ethnic line where you're coming from or region, you feel tortured or mentally tortured. So if it continues for a long time, it brings a mental health problem. Then social isolation and loneliness. Most times, if you have a very small family or no friends, you find that as a human being, you have problems. But if you socialize, sometimes these problems are solved. You get solutions from friends and family. But if you isolate yourself, they'll keep on piling, and at the end of the day, it breaks you down. Yeah, low levels of education. However much they say we can't finish studies or you can't finish education, sometimes if you feel like the level that you think you should finish or you should reach to at least, and when you try so hard and you fail to reach that level and you take it so much serious, you feel haunted. Even if things that you could do, you limit yourself. You say, how can I do this without this paper? However, you have to face life as it is. Sometimes it's not the papers, it's the courage that you take or what you bring on table that helps change the situations. Then rapid social change. Yeah, for example, situations in when a natural calamity happens or a war happens, you may be in a stable lifestyle. Then from nowhere, war breaks out, you lose your loved ones or you lose your property, you totally breaks down or everything changes and your life will be disorganized. So that one causes a lot of mental disorders. So mental health and well-being are being influenced by many factors, both within our control and beyond. So social factors are crucial to mental health and well-being. So what can, in continuation of this, emergencies. People often face difficult situations which negatively impact them and have long-lasting effects. This one further explains the situation of changes, rapid changes or sudden changes in the situations. And then stressful work conditions. Excessive work demands, lack of support and encouragement, and health hazards can make a person feel vulnerable and unable to cope. And you see most of people applying for jobs, they say, I can work under pressure. However, when it really comes to the real time of working under pressure, you see people breaking down. That most time is made worse if your bosses are not helping at all, or they not understand your situation at all. So discrimination and other human rights violations. There are a lot of human rights violations out there. So if you feel, if you are subjected to one of them, in the long run, you will break down. Violence and abuse. Important negative psychological impacts of violence and abuse. There are a lot of violence and abuse examples we can give here at homes, at schools, in our communities, everywhere. So when we're exposed to one of these, you find you're mentally affected, and it affects your productivity either at school or even at work or at home. Then physical health conditions can present everyday barriers and challenges. So if you get some health condition, most times your reaction be like, how am I going to go through this? Or you start thinking the negative. That with this, I'm not going to survive. I'm not going to live any further. So this one also breaks down, and in most cases, it now increases or the condition that you're already going through. And inexistent or inadequate services or support. In situations where you need a certain service but you cannot get it from within your locality, or it's not enough to solve your problems, you find at the end of the day, you break down. So these factors can interact to affect mental health and well-being differently in different groups of people. It is often the stigma, negative attitudes, discrimination, and other human rights violations which have the most negative impact. So human rights instruments aim to protect people from the factors described above. Still under protecting and promoting mental health and well-being, we have the right to health as a human right. So we find that there are treaties or instruments that were put in place to protect people from being exposed to this. The right to health is enshrined in international human rights treaty and the national constitutions. This was first articulated in World Health Organization Constitution in 1946. The enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health is one of the fundamental rights of human beings, without distinction of race, religion, political belief, economic, or social conditions. So if we go back to look at the causes of stress, we find that they're all within here, these areas that I've mentioned. However, here they're telling us the enjoyment of all these is a fundamental right for each and every one of us. Fundamental means nobody needs to give it to you. You're supposed to get it as a human being, is inherent. You don't have to ask for it. Then the right to health is in UN instruments and treaties. For example, UDHR, this one is a Universal Declaration of Human Rights. To enable achievement of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health, governments need to ensure that health services, including mental health services, are available, accessible, acceptable, and of good quality. So these ones, the government is supposed to make to put them there, so that whoever feels is not comfortable should easily access them and get the help that they want. And then another one is the right to health is also included in Article 25 of the CRPD. The right to health means inclusive health. Governments have duty to ensure that all people can live in optimal physical and mental health, and that no one is excluded on the basis of their disability. This one is whether you're mentally disabled or physically disabled, or you have despair with eyes, you have to access anything that you're supposed to get. Now, enjoyment of the right to health is linked to all the other human rights. E.g., to be able to enjoy the right to health, people need to be free from exploitation, violence, and abuses to an adequate standard of living and social protection. So conversely, human rights violations have a huge negative impact on mental health. If people experience exploitation, violence, and abuse, they are more likely to experience emotional distress. So poor living conditions, discrimination, and no access to social protection can also have a negative impact on people's mental health. So all these are all rights that we are supposed to to get as human beings. However, if you find ourselves in them, it affects our mental being. Foster mental health and the well-being. So create environments and living conditions that can contribute to good mental health and well-being. So here, you create this environment first for yourself, and then whoever is living within that environment, so that all of you are in good mental status, so for the betterment of the community. We can all play a role in promoting people's mental health and well-being. So in this, we can treat others with dignity and respect, provide emotional support, connect people to supports. So sometimes people feel they are neglected. It may look something small, but to another person, it is affecting or eating him up internally. So if we show us that they are cared for or they are liked, the environment is very good. So you advocate for better environments and improve the living conditions, fight poverty and social injustices. Services also have an important role and responsibility to ensure that they provide quality care and support on a basis of free and informed consent. So this will promote community inclusion, autonomy, and respect for the will and preferences of the person. Institutional care is not compatible with the right to health. The Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disability calls for professionals to use their knowledge, ability, and skills to create, develop, and strengthen quality services. So this is a call that at least will try to minimize these injustices that will make people break down mentally. So the second topic is going to be promoting the right to mental health in fact-checking and journalism. So after seeing after having had all the above causes and the impacts or what we can do to help people prevent mental health, we are now coming down as journalists or as fact-checkers. How can our mental health be affected, and how can we protect ourselves and make sure we live life that is not broken down? So promoting the right to mental health in fact-checking journalism. Promoting the right to mental health in fact-checking and journalism requires a commitment to accuracy, sensitivity, and responsible reporting on mental health issues. By doing so, journalists and fact-checkers can help reduce stigma, promote understanding, and improve access to mental health resources for those who need it. So first of all, as fact-checkers or as journalists, we can reduce stigma, promote understanding, and improve access to mental health resources for those who need them. Some people may go through mental breakdown when they don't know exactly what is happening to them. However, if we keep on enlightening them, we keep on enlightening the public, and as they read, they realize that, oh, this is what I'm going through is a condition, or I need to see a doctor. Remember, mental health issues are not like, unless when they're at their last or dangerous stages, they are not like any other sickness where somebody can say, you can see it clear and say maybe it's a wound or you have serious headache. It can eat you up for a long time without any other person knowing, but you inside alone. So as journalists, we have that responsibility to do. Another thing, promoting the right to mental health in fact-checking and journalism can be done in several ways. One, it is important to raise awareness about mental health issues and reduce the stigma surrounding them. Journalists and fact-checkers can do this by providing accurate information about mental health conditions and debunking common myths and perceptions. Yeah, for example, issues like perceptions like people think you don't need a you don't need a psychiatrist, or if you go to see a psychiatrist, it means you're mad or you don't reason at all. So if we, as journalists and fact checkers, we debunk these myths and the public have a positive perception about getting medical treatment, it will be of very important, very importance to our communities. And journalists and fact checkers can promote the importance of seeking help for mental health problems and provide information about available resources, such as helplines and support groups. Yes, we can publicize about where people can get help. And we also popularize the signs and symptoms of mental health issues. So journalists and fact checkers can ensure that their reporting on mental health issues is sensitive, respectful, and avoids sensationalism or stigmatizing language. This can help reduce the stigma associated with mental health conditions and promote understanding and empathy towards those who are struggling. Yes, if the articles that we write are positive or encouraging, the mental health patients will feel also part of the society, and they will feel loved. And whoever is having such issues will not hesitate to come out and talk about his condition. And remember, a problem shared is half solved. So this one will encourage people to come out, and in the long run will reduce mental health issues. That news organizations can prioritize mental health coverage and allocate resources to cover mental health topics more comprehensively. This can help raise public awareness about mental health issues and promote informed and inclusive debate. We find that even these days, when right now, if you look into our main papers in the country, there are few, if none, that talk much about mental health issues. However, here we are saying these papers should prioritize this area so that it can cause awareness to a lot of people in the country. So here are some tips for fact checkers to protect their mental health. So after working in helping and protecting other people, you as fact checkers and journalists, remember we also have lives, but we are human beings. Whatever that we discussed above can still happen to us, either at our workplace or at our homes or in the communities where we come from. So in this case, we also need to take care of our lives or our mental health so that we can continue to do our work for as long as we are working. So fact-checking can be a challenging and stressful job that requires a lot of mental effort and attention to detail. Remember, as a fact-checker, you need to do a lot of research, you need to consult, you need to check from different sources to make sure you get the correct information that the public will have to consume. So in this, it's really very hectic. Sometimes you go to a source and the source is not ready to talk to you. You try this and this other one, you feel you're rejected in very many other ways. So here, when as a fact checker, here are some of the tips that you can do to help protect your mental health. One of it is take breaks. It's important to take regular breaks throughout the day to give your mind a chance to rest and recharge. This can help prevent burnout and reduce stress. Here, if you have a claim that you're doing, you don't have to say, by all means, today I have to finish it. If you try to look for the sources and they're not adding up or they're not responding, you need to take a break of maybe an hour or a few minutes and relax. You give your brain some rest, then you either come back or you do other things and you come back the next day. Then manage your workload. So try to balance your workload so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Set realistic deadlines and prioritize tasks to make sure you are not overworking yourself. Every time you come to office, you may have a daily work plan or weekly. Say this today, I'm going to do A, B, C, D. Not everything that comes around. If you don't plan this way, you'll find that at the end of the day, you may go back even without doing anything, because you'll start this, then another one comes in. Since you don't have a plan, you say like, okay, let me first do this. And then another one pops in, or you go back to the previous one. So you go back when you're tired, but when you have not done anything. And this one also affects, because all what you want is the results. So if you cannot provide the results, you cannot produce results at the end of the day, it affects your mental health stability. So you have to manage your tasks and you set realistic goals. You cannot say, I'm going to get this fact check in 30 minutes or 1 hour. No, that one is very unrealistic. So stay organized. Use tools such as calendars, to-do lists, and project management software to help you stay organized and on top of your work. Then another one is you make self-care. Make sure you take good care of yourself. You have enough sleep, you eat well, and also your company, the group that you stay with should be productive people, because bad company corrupts rightful mind. So make sure the people that you go out with are very productive or at least very helpful. Remember, one of the causes of mental post-traumatic stress is lack of supporting family and friends. So you should be able to get good friends. Then finally, we have connect with others. Seek out support from coworkers, friends, or family members. Talking about your experiences with others who understand can help you feel less isolated and less stressed. Yeah, if you have any challenge, could be it's work, what you're doing, or there's a claim that you're working, you're not getting sources. Remember, it's what you may not know, someone may know, or someone that you may not know, another one may be out there with all the information about them that you know. So that you don't know. So if you're finding difficulty, don't keep burning with it. Share with your colleagues. In the long run, it will become lighter. It will not be a problem to you anymore. So as you continue, we're getting to recovery.
Just give me a break.
As we reach here, let's have some 10 minutes break. We come back at 3:40 to continue and finish the remaining few questions, few slides.
Okay, great. So in the meantime, we will share the attendance list, attendance register, both on Zoom and also on YouTube. If you're following on Zoom or YouTube, kindly click on the link in the chat box. Also, this is time for you to sort of reflect on some of the key takeaways that you have noted during the presentation, and also do a little walk. You can walk around. If you are in an office, you can stand up and then walk, take a glass of water, maybe say hi to your friends, and then so that you can sort of refresh your mind a bit. Yeah, just to reflect. Meanwhile, click on the link that is in the chat box so that you are able to register your attendance for the session. Ensure that your details are correct so that Yeah, so that it's okay. Thank Okay, I was saying that you can register your attendance based on the link, using the link that we have put in the chat box. We have 7 minutes left of our break. You can take some time to yeah, just to exercise and see that you are able to digest the information that has been shared. And also want to thank the participants who have been actively engaging, using the chat box. I've seen a couple of questions and also discussions that I've had, which is great. And yeah, to have this sort of discussions and something similar. I am to the attendance register. You will find it pinned at the top of the live chat, so you can just click on it and then be able to register your attendance for the session. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this session on mental health and how journalists and fact checkers can handle issues of stress and trauma at a personal level, because the impacts can be very negative or devastating, if I must say, if you get to be a victim of circumstances such as this. So it's good to be safe, and it's good to be aware of these things so that you are able to save yourself as well as save your friends and colleagues at work, or even people who are part of your people who are part of your family. Yeah. So for those ones who are following on YouTube, I have just shared the uh, the, the link to the attendance register. I'm just pinning it shortly, and you should be able to find it at the top chat. Yeah, there you go. I have pinned it. I have pinned it. So yeah, the message has been pinned to register your attendance for the session. Once again, being part of this. I hope that you will share with people at work. Signing the attendance register, please let us know in the chat box. Let us know on the YouTube chat if you are not able to register your attendance for this particular session. We are left with 3 minutes break yet. I advise you to please do so, so that you come back when you have gotten some rest. Yeah, or we can Zoom. So in the remaining session, you will basically be looking at recovery can use in case you some of the barriers sometimes, and also work around that points that you can later take away so that we wrap the session. So I am handing you back to the trainer to finish the remaining part of the presentation, to ask any questions that you uh, via the chat box, or you're following on YouTube in the YouTube. Okay, yeah. So you're welcome back from the that session now.
Yes, welcome back everyone from the break. I'll continue with our remaining slides, and we shall have few time at the end for questions. We shall have time anyway. So going through all this, we don't need to remain in there. We need to recover. So in mental health, the meaning of recovery can be different for each person. It can be about regaining control of identity and life, having hope, living a life that has meaning. Remember, the signs and symptoms of mental health are different from different people. So what you need is not what the other person needs. This understanding of what or being normal again. So as a medical condition, you may still be having the condition, but you're recovering, or you have hope that one day you'll be better. So that's the beginning of recovery. Instead, recovery focuses on gaining new meaning and purpose in life, being empowered and able to live a self-directed life, despite what one may have lived through. So this is putting the past behind you, and you see a new future. Because one of the factors or problems that we saw with mental health disorder was that you have no purpose in life. You feel you have nothing to live for. So if you start seeing a cause to live, means that you're already in the process of recovering. So everyone experiences challenges on the road to recovery. It's not broken down for you to recover. There are a lot of setbacks that we face. However, when we overcome them, then we get better. Although recovery is unique and personal, many elements are influenced by relationships and interactions between people, as well as by the social and political environment we live in. So generally, much as you try very hard, but the people and the environment you're living in plays a very greater role. For example, if your problem was alcoholism or drug abuse, and then you're still living in that vicinity where the friends that you used to go out with are still the same, the alcohol is still available, my friend, sometimes it will be very hard to get out of that situation. So the first thing you need to do here is to move out of that area. So when you move out of that area where you have less access or even no access to alcohol, there you're recovering. However, most time it's very hard for someone to take that step. But if you take it, then you see there's change. And this one will be very important. Often these elements create barriers to recovery. The recovery factors listed in the table, there's a table that we're going to look next from here. So it's saying the recovery factors listed in this table do not apply only to people with the psychosocial, intellectual, or cognitive disabilities. Everyone is recovering or has recovered from something in their lives. So there's a common saying in other places which say all of us, we are mad, but the level of our madness differs. So this one clearly explained this statement. To me, it's that not those ones that you see are really moving in the streets or going alone or doing what, they're the ones who need help or who need this information. But at a certain point, we either needed it or we are needing it or we shall still need it in the future. So however, people may recover from different things in also be at very different points in the barriers to recovery that we're talking about that were in the box. So lack of sense of identity, respect, and hope. This more or less goes back to the causes of this of mental breakdown. So still, if you feel you don't see any self-respect, if you don't see any hope, if you don't see any identity, then you will not recover. Then mistreatment, neglect, abuse, or trauma. If the mistreatment or the neglect or the that brought the trauma all along is still there, it means you are not going to recover however much you try. Then the same with the poverty. If you had a situation that put you down because of financial inability, if it's not solved, or if you cannot provide for yourself, then it will still be hard for you to get out. It will still be hard, but not that you cannot manage. Remember, these are barriers to recovery, but it doesn't mean that you cannot overcome them. The lack of educational or income generating, social, and other opportunities. If the opportunities continue to be limited still, you will still be in that state of breakdown. Then being excluded from family, friends, or social support, networks, and one's own community. So yeah, if you're still isolated or you have no access to your family, this one will still continue to haunt you. Either you eliminated intentionally by your family or by condition or situations that are beyond both of you control. Then feelings of isolations and lack of support. If this one still continues, you'll still be a problem. Then experiencing stigma and discrimination. Just when you're in this situation and the people feel they cannot associate with you because you're in this situation, will itself be haunting you the further. Then staff or families' lack of belief in people's ability to get better and claim and reclaim their lives. So if nobody has hope in you that you can still come back to your normal sense, then this one will still be very hard for you to recover because you need support from family and friends and all people around you for you to regain, to regain your life back. And not knowing or being informed of one's rights. Yeah, because one of the reason of mental breakdown could be abuse of rights. But if you don't know your rights, if you don't know what to do after your rights are being inflicted on, then it means the people who have been taking advantage of you will still do that. In most cases, we hear when we hear victims of rape, like especially young children. This when they them, if they report to anybody, they'll come and kill them. So this is a threat, and if you take it serious, you will keep going through whatever the perpetrator is doing to you with fear of coming out to tell the public or to tell the responsible authorities to help you. They're not safe any longer. Yeah, in most cases, if the situation has reached at a certain stage, even if you're trying to recover, at least you're gaining some sensibility. They will still say you still don't have uh, to reason for yourself or to decide for yourself. You're sick, and this one will still keep you down till really I'm not recovering. Then feeling that one's is not respected by others. This more or less the same with the other one. Then others defining what they see as recovery or success. Others around us having low expectation or excessively high expectations about our recovery. Like people will not value the effort that when people don't value the effort that you've put in recovery, this one the break still breaks you down. Then lack of availability, available, accessible, or affordable, affordable and acceptable mental health and social services, or alternatives. So yeah, we like in our country we have very few, if at all we have, mental hospitals that we can help. We cannot get it, and we continue suffering. So another factor is being denied or facing barriers to treatment or recovery approaches, psychotherapy. So if you deny these chances, if you identify yourself and you say I have this issue, and you need to see a psychotherapist or a counselor, but maybe from the place of work or your family or because of the situation where you are or the location where you are, you cannot access this, you will not be able to recover from your situation. Then lack of access to information, treatment, and support options, psychosocial alternatives to medication. Pathologizing normal grievances, which lead to unnecessary and harmful treatment. This also leads people to think they are not normal or interferes with the normal healing processes, and discourages people from feeling emotions because they are seen as symptoms of disorder. Then negative effects of medication. Sometimes you may take the medication that is supposed to help you, and then they react differently in your body. And again, it worsens the situation. Negative attitudes from mental health and other practitioners. If you have negative attitudes, either towards very hard for you to recover. The lack of trust in the mental health system and the people working in the system, especially if yourself you believe you don't believe that this the mental health experts will help you. It will be very hard for you to recover. Then we have overprotection by family opposing discharge from the service. Some families will will be the barrier itself. They will tell you it's not suffering from this and that or whatever you think he or she is suffering from. So instead of getting the help that you're supposed to get, you're barred from getting it. Being told that you have a lifelong illness that you won't recover from, this is more or less part of stigma. People keep reminding you that however much they try, you will never recover. Think about yourself and about your situation. A lack of contact with other people who have gone through similar experiences or who have been through a recovery processes. Sometimes we get healed through experiences. When people share their experiences, then you feel like, okay, if so and so was in this situation, or even in worse situation than mine, and he is now fine, it means I can also get cured. But if these examples are not there, it limits the chances, or it lowers the chances of someone from recovering. So many of these problems can be addressed through good communication, and by building a trusting relationship requires a personal connection, which cannot be forced. It has to be free. Like you come to whoever that you feel you want to talk, willing to listen to you, and you share your problems, and gives you the guidance or the team possible. Effort should not be persons who may be able to. So sometimes, if the condition is disturbed, people will not want anybody to them or to their lives. However, has one or two people do, then they should take advantage of it to the patient on one-to-one. Good communication, understanding and respect for the will and preferences of the person who is going through recovery. Sometimes we don't have to take the people who are recovering for granted. We don't have to give them the chance to say whatever they want to say or them when they bring them on table. Helping people regain or stay in control of their lives. Recovery may or may not involve treating or managing symptoms. The process of taking this person to the hospital or giving him the medical advice may be part of recovery, but still, this person may recover without this. And recovery is different for everyone. Just as we said, we don't have the same symptoms. Also in recovery, it's the same. Go through the same stages, or we don't get we don't see the same thing everyone gets. For some people, recovery is an ongoing journey. Yeah, it can be one day at a time. It can take long. And then to others, it may mean developing or strengthening independence, finding a job, or going back into education. Recovery may and activities. Remember earlier from either friends, family, or the community. So, or where she was, that's already. It might also mean an absence of what the symptoms, like either signs and symptoms, all heals. It also involves redefining what people's experiences means to them. Like the patients, when they start to define or redefining what the experiences that they went through means to their life or like lifestyle, means they cannot recognize the difference that has happened in their lives, and then we can say they are creating safe places to acknowledge trauma and explore ways of healing. These safe places can be hospitals, or it can even be our homes, because some of uh, the mental issues are caused by the environment that we live in. So if you decide to make these environments very safe and very lively for everyone, heal and find back his peace of mind. For the future, hope is the principal, because without hope, if you don't believe that you're going to be better, it's very hard for you to believe. So as someone who is going through hard condition, the first thing you put into your mind should be a recovery. The essence of hope is absence of symptoms. Then central to the concept of recovery is a belief that one's situation or circumstances can change, or is that one will to manage the situation. In recovery, illness or disability do not mark the end of dreams, aspirations, and possibilities. Then dreams and aspirations need to be encouraged and valued. So as you're helping somebody, you need to concentrate much. Dreams and aspirations, or even your soul. If you're the one going through all this, you need to have goals that are achievable, and that you think if you put much effort, you achieve them in the long run. This one gives you a quicker way to recover. Respecting all human rights is essential to implement a recovery approach. Uphold the human rights. Taking risks. Yeah, taking risks taking can be an important part of one's recovery. It is natural to take risks in life and either succeed or fail as a result. This learning process is essential for living. It requires risk taking to help people move forward. So the risk that you'll be better. If it's poverty, you have to look for other ways of getting resources, and you take the risk of getting sources. So as you do this, you learn that you can still come out of this situation you're in. You can still have access. You will get the money or the resources that you need to come out of the current situation. Say if you take risks, you either succeed. If you succeed, you get lessons. So recovery is holistic, meaning recovery looks at the whole person, extending to social, emotional, physical, and other aspects of life. This may involve addressing social adversities. So recovery involves healing from trauma. Many people have experienced trauma in their lives, and this negatively affects their mental well-being and quality of life. Services should provide care in a way to avoid traumatizing or re-traumatizing people. This means that services must refrain from practices of violence or coercion. Then recovery means being seen as a person and not just as a condition or a disability. Going through a certain situation, they'll start defining you with who has your own capacities or capabilities that you can do. So don't look at people depending on us. In most cases, when someone mentally breaks down, when that person is gonna be like, this one was once, it's not normal like for any other person. However much recovered fully or you are now okay. Focusing on one's abilities and strengths. Recovery approaches respects people's choices and supports them in living fulfilling lives. So what supports recovery?
Just summarize.
Okay.
We'll find the rest of the slide.
Okay. Due to time, it's already 4. It's 3 minutes into 4. So I'll just summarize, and we are going to share the slides with you and any other information that you will need. You get it there, or if there's something that is exceptional that you will not get in the notes, you can still use the WhatsApp group, and we'll get the help that mental health and other families or others to decide what a person's recovery will look like. This must be the decision of the person who is going through the recovery journey. The role of others is to support people in the best way possible along their recovery journey, and using good communication skills, understanding and acknowledge experience, and that this expertise is as valid as the skill and the expertise of the practitioners. So generally, it is up to the patient to decide or to know that they're in the recovery journey and they can recover. However, we need support from experts or whoever is around us, by either us giving them a listening ear or us talking to them and giving them hope that they can still gain whatever they had or whatever they had lost during the time, and live a better life. Yeah, we have like 2 to 3 more other slides down there that you will get when the slides are finally shared. And due to time also, if someone has a question that has not been answered, you can still share it in the group, in the WhatsApp group, and you get the answers from there. Otherwise, thank you for all sparing time to be with us in this session for empowering fact-checking in South Sudan. We appreciate always your time. Those ones who are always been with us, and those ones who have joined us for the first time, you are most welcome. I remain Moses. Thank you. Bida, you can go from there.